Okay, so what is your full name and where are you originally from?
My name is Amos. I'm from Kenya. Kilgore is Kenya. That's the south part of Nairobi.
Okay.
Not far, yeah.
All right, and when did you leave there and come here?
I left Kenya in 2016. Then I came over to Florida in 2016.
Oh,
So I've been over the US since then.
okay, and
Yeah.
what brought you to Northern from Florida?
From Florida to Northern, it was running mainly. There was
Okay.
something good in the program. I came to Majain. That's something that brought me here.
All right,
Yeah.
so on the topic of running, for sports, what is that like over there? Is that, are sports a popular extracurricular activity or is that something that kids usually aren't a part of?
Most people basically grow up in areas where school is a long distance from home, and there's no good means of transportation moving from school back home. So basically, you find kids running to school every day in the morning since
Wow.
they are young.
Uh-huh.
So they just keep running, and that becomes part of their life. So when they begin thinking of competing pro, it's very easy for them. They're more used to running.
Oh, wow.
So that's how running becomes easy. That's why you find most Kenyan becoming very competitive.
Become pro.
Yeah, but for me, running was not something that to me.
Uh-huh.
I liked soccer more than running and tennis a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but did you have an organized like a track team or cross country team from your school?
From my school, yeah, we had one, but I was one. In Kenya, it's usually you either study or you run. So if you don't like studying, you run. So I liked studying. I didn't like running at all.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, running was a punishment
Oh.
to me once
You just
in a
happen
while.
to be good at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the topic of education, how is school organized? Like here we have like our pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, we have grade school,
Right.
and then that's how that's organized. What is that like over there? What is that?
It's more of the same. In Kenya, you begin with preschool. That's three classes. That's like they call it baby class, then middle class, then nursery. That's preschool. Then you go to class 1 to class 8. That's the primary school level. Then you go to high school 4 years, the same way. Then to university 4 years again. So it's
Okay.
the same. It's more of the British system of education.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So, are most of the kids that choose to study and not to do sports, are they more aimed at going to college, or do a lot of them just go right into the workforce, or what is that?
In Kenya, it's different. Usually, the education system is so tough. Once you get in high school, you have to do a national test. It's a standardized national test, and it's so tough. So once you have to pass, you have to get a specific GPA in high school, which is determined by only one exam.
And you
for
can't
you to do
retake it.
university, you can. You have to repeat the whole class for 1 year.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a thing like SATs where you just do them anytime.
Mhm.
No, you have to take them after 4 years of studying. Then you register for the exam. Then it's basically like a national standard exam.
Mhm.
So once you pass that exam, there is a panel that decides which university you're going to. So if you don't get if you don't get a GPA of around 3.2, you don't go to university from high school. So some people are very poor, they can't manage to pay for college, so they just end up going to the workforce, doing some manual work,
Mhm.
and just not going to college. Yeah.
Wow. So once you achieve that score, it's not even really up to you what colleges are available to you. Somebody else picks that for you.
The government, there is basically like a government organization that picks up for you. Even the courses that you go and major in, you basically select 4 courses at different universities. Then they're the ones who decide which one are you going to go to. So basically, even if you get a GPA of 3.8, you can be exempted into an engineering school in Kenya. You have to get a perfect 4.0 or close to a 3.9. That's when you can be accepted in an engineering school. Yeah.
Wow, so that's really competitive then.
It's very competitive. They are very smart kids now. You can find some really good kids. Yeah.
Oh wow. So, are there a lot of universities available around where you lived?
Yeah, oh, we have basically universities, the population of universities are usually like close to 200,000 kids. No, 80, I'll take that, but close to 80,000 kids. So,
Still
a lot, that's a lot. So basically universities most of them are public. Then you have private universities those are just meant for rich kids. Yeah, like in Kenya, but yeah.
Okay, so does the typical potential college student, do they face kind of the same things that we do as college students, like financially, like you're saying, you have like the rich kids and the more poor kids?
Yeah, what I usually like about back home is the community. Usually they have something called a rampe where in case you are a smart kid and you can't pay for your tuition, the whole village comes up and they contribute something and make sure you go to school. So that's something good. They do that a lot.
That's really cool.
It's been helping so many kids. Even my dad survived through that. And he was one of the first kids from my tribe going to university, which was like a breakthrough, and yeah, that's how he survived.
That's really, really neat.
Yeah.
Do the universities there have college teams like we do here? Is it just study?
They have those sports teams, but they're not so. I could say they don't have like funds allocated for them unless you have to find them. I don't take it seriously. I could say that. Yeah, but they have sports.
Sports.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were going to do sports, you'd probably go straight to pro.
Yeah, you go to pro. Yeah, or join. We have different organizations that compete, like soccer leagues, or
like
some
national teams.
Yeah, or we have like training camps for athletes, like pro runners, or even if you want to be like a scholarship kid, you need to find a scholarship to a European university or American university. They have such academies for kids.
Well, that's really neat. Huh.
Yeah.
So if you don't choose to go to college after high school or whatnot, like what's like the typical age for them to start working, and what kind of a job would you get?
It depends on your family status. Some kids are usually born without parents, like orphans. That's something very common up in Kenya. Or sometimes their parents just leave them at a young age, so they grow up by themselves. And so basically a kid can work when they are 18. That's the legal age, I could say. So anyone who's just above 18 years can do any kind of job. Most of them can build up small kiosk shops. It's basically like small shops where they will provide services like shaving people's hair, services like selling grocery, So those are most of the things that people do. Some of my friends can do like construction jobs. And yeah, that's how they survive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a hard route to go.
Yeah.
So what is like the standard wage if you were, I guess it wouldn't be a wage if you're working like that, but like what would somebody like that maybe earn in a day or in a week? Do you know?
Yeah, it's manual labor doesn't pay as much.
Yeah.
So basically in a day you can get $3.
Yeah.
That's a lot with the economy. But $6 I could say. Close to $10, but yeah, it's pretty rough. And that's working for 5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it goes with the economy, $10 in Kenya can buy a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But in the US, $10 can buy you breakfast.
No.
Can only get you breakfast,
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Maybe if we could talk a little bit about religion. Is there a more dominant religion?
Most people are Christians back in Kenya. For me, my great-grandpa was a missionary. When the British came to Kenya, he was one of the pioneers who went to study the religion, but he had to travel away from the tribe, from where he used to live, from his people, and he went to a different tribe, learned their language, and began learning English. And that's why he became a Seventh-day Adventist. He's a Christian, so when he came back home, he began building churches and preaching to people. and converting people to Christianity. So he was a pioneer. Actually, like his courage is the one that makes me go to places that I don't even know.
Yeah.
And just feel like I can do something, with my life or help my people, It's, he had courage, I see like that was something tough to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really motivational. Wow.
Yeah.
So, you never, or did you ever think that maybe you'd want to do something similar to what he did because of that inspiration, like be a missionary? Like, was that ever a thought for you?
For me, well, I just like the religion aspect, going to church and believing in God.
Right. Okay.
Which I know, when you come to the US, they don't like when you begin talking too much about religion in public places like this.
Right.
But for me, I usually start with that, and I feel like going to church and believing in that path has helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of helps you being disciplined,
Yeah.
doing things that are ethical or right. Even when you don't have any decision to do, you just feel like that push makes you do. But the only thing that motivates me from him is being, venturing into new places and just being confident and seeing the good in that, not being afraid of going to places where you don't know anything and getting scared,
It explains why you're here, of all places.
Yeah.
So, kind of more on like the family life aspect.
Right.
For a typical household, is it mainly like the parents and their children live in one house, or do you have more like extended family, like your grandparents living with you in your home, or is it just kind of like how's that structured?
Back in Kenya, we have in every tribe you have two extremes. There are those people who don't like modernization, they don't like change, they just like living in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find them living with their whole family, like the whole extended family living together. But like for us back home, my dad, when he was done studying, and he had to move away from his parents, buy himself his own land and build his own place away from his other family,
Mm-hmm.
So when I grew up, I just grew up with my dad, mom, and my siblings. Yeah, so it's more of that, if people are getting more modernized. So those people are getting more modernized, that's what they do. They just live away from the extended family. Yeah, kind of avoiding the inheritance kind of
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm sure we're getting close to the end. I would like to ask about food though, because I'm a food enthusiast. So what are the kind of big differences from here and
In Kenya, we don't usually eat too much of processed food. Usually, most of the food are just locally grown, not processed most of the time. So back home, my mom has her own garden. That we don't have winter back there, so it's usually summer and spring, I could say.
Yeah.
So every time there must be something in the garden, vegetables, fruits, So we sometimes don't buy vegetables, we just harvest them
Yeah.
and prepare them. And maize, cereals, maize, sorghum, millet sometimes. So you just harvest them, then store them, keep them for a long period of time. Just process them like locally using like some meals, like grinding them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually everything is just locally made.
So
Other than bread, I could say,
Yeah.
that's what you could buy. Yeah.
Was that-
Milk too.
is that kind of different for you coming here, that you can have like all these things on the shelf to eat rather than just getting something totally fresh all the time? Like, was that hard to transition?
I could say, well, the hardest part was getting used to cold food,
Oh.
Usually food in Kenya is just like ready made from the pot
Huh.
and, served to you. So
Yeah.
it's usually warm every time.
Yeah, we have a lot of cold foods.
Yeah, here it's just cold food processed and, it was tough, especially, when you go get yourself food, people will be like, what kind of cheese do you want? In Kenya, there's nothing like that.
No.
It's either there's cheese or there's no cheese, or, but you have a variety to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was a little bit tough, but with time I had to find what I like and what my body accepts with,
Yeah.